Do you want to sleep? Then listen to me. Turn off the lights, close the windows, now close them and listen to you. Finally, I will make a request to you. Put down your phone and listen to my voice. Listen clearly. I will now tell you a story that will make you sleepy. Close your eyes and listen carefully to my words.
The Humble Beginnings. The story begins in the late 13th century in a region of northwestern Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. After the Seljuk Sultanate weakened, many Turkmen tribal groups emerged in the area. Among these was a small principality led by a charismatic warrior chief named Osman I. The Ottoman state came from a small principality in the frontier regions of the Seljuk Sultanate in late 13th century Anatolia. Osman's dream, myth, and symbol. According to tradition, a later legend recorded in Ottoman sources, Osman once had a powerful dream in which a mighty tree grew from his chest, its branches spreading over the world. This dream was interpreted as a sign that his lineage would found a great and enduring empire. Formation of a state, CE 1299. Osman capitalized on the weakening of Byzantine control in the region. By leading his warriors, known as Ghazis, frontier fighters of Islam, against Byzantine forts and smaller neighbors, he carved out a growing territory. Historians mark approximately 1299 AD as the official beginning of the Ottoman polity, the moment Osman declared independence and began expanding beyond a tribal chiefdom. Growing strength. With every victory, Osman gained more followers and prestige. His successors inherited not just land, but a vision of continuing expansion. The Ottoman state grew through a mix of warfare, alliances, and strategic marriages with neighboring powers. What this began. From this humble frontier state, a dynasty was born that would go on to rule for over 600 years, eventually transforming from a regional power into one of history's most influential empires across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Rise of Orhan Ghazi, 1323 to 1362. After the death of Osman I, leadership passed to his son, Orhan Ghazi. Unlike his father, Orhan was not only a warrior, but also a state builder. Under him, the Ottomans transformed from a tribal force into an organized government. 2. First major capital, Bursa. One of Orhan's greatest achievements was the capture of Bursa in 1326. Bursa became the first official capital of the Ottoman state. This marked a turning point from constant raids to permanent rule, administration, and taxation. Here, the Ottomans built mosques, markets, and schools, established a regular treasury, began issuing Ottoman coins in Orhan's name. This showed the Ottomans were no longer just warriors, they were rulers. 3. Birth of the Ottoman military system. Orhan introduced one of the empire's most important innovations, a standing army paid by the state, the early foundations of what would later become the Janissaries. This professional army gave the Ottomans a massive advantage over feudal rivals who relied on temporary fighters. 4. Crossing into Europe. A moment that changed world history occurred in 1354. After an earthquake damaged Byzantine fortresses, the Ottomans seized Gallipoli, their first foothold in Europe. From this point forward, Ottoman expansion would no longer be limited to Anatolia. Europe had now entered the Ottoman story. 5. Murad I and the empire expands, 1362 to 1389. Orhan's son, Murad I, took power and pushed the empire further. The capital moved to Edirne, Adrianople, in Europe. The Ottomans conquered large parts of the Balkans. The Janissary Corps was formally established. Murad ruled over a true empire stretching across 2 continents. 6. Battle of Kosovo. The defining moment of Murad's reign came at the Battle of Kosovo. Ottoman forces defeated a large Balkan coalition. Murad I was killed after the battle, becoming the first Ottoman sultan to die on the battlefield. Despite his death, Ottoman dominance in the Balkans was secured. 7. Legacy of Part 2. By the end of this chapter, the Ottomans controlled key territory in Anatolia and Europe. A strong army, economy, and government were in place. The empire was poised for even greater conquests. The small frontier tribe had become a continental power.
Rise of Bayezid I, 1389. After the death of Murad I, his son Bayezid I ascended the throne. He earned the nickname Yildirim, the lightning bolt, because of his lightning-fast military campaigns. Bayezid ruled with urgency, believing speed was the key to survival. 2. Rapid expansion. Bayezid moved swiftly to secure the empire, crushed rebellions in the Balkans, defeated rival Turkish beyliks in Anatolia, centralized power under the Sultan. For the first time, the Ottomans controlled most of Anatolia, uniting Turkish lands under one ruler. 3. Clash with Europe. Battle of Nicopolis, 1396. Alarmed by Ottoman expansion, a massive crusader army from France, Hungary, and other European states marched against Bayezid. At Nicopolis, Bayezid's forces used disciplined janissaries, exploited European overconfidence, achieved a crushing victory. This battle ended the last major crusade of the Middle Ages and confirmed the Ottomans as Europe's greatest military threat. 4. Siege of Constantinople. Bayezid turned his attention to the ultimate prize, Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine Empire. The city was surrounded, blockaded, and starved. Its fall seemed inevitable. But fate had other plans. 5. Arrival of Timur, Tamerlane. From the east came a new force, Timur, the conqueror of Central Asia. Unlike Bayezid, Timur ruled through terror, destruction, and psychological warfare. Both men claimed dominance over Anatolia. Conflict was unavoidable. 6. Battle of Ankara, 1402. The two empires collided at Ankara. Bayezid's troops were exhausted. Former Anatolian allies defected. Timur's cavalry overwhelmed the Ottomans. Bayezid was captured alive, a humiliation never before suffered by an Ottoman sultan. 7. Collapse and chaos. Bayezid died in captivity soon after. The Ottoman Empire collapsed into a civil war known as the Interregnum, 1402 to 1413. His sons fought each other. The empire fractured. Territories were lost. Enemies believed the Ottomans were finished. The dark aftermath. After Bayezid I's defeat and death, the Ottoman world fell into chaos. From 1402 to 1413, Bayezid's sons fought a brutal civil war known as the Ottoman Interregnum. Cities were divided, loyalties shifted, and enemies circled, waiting for the empire's final collapse. Many believed the Ottoman story had ended. 2. Rise of Mehmed I. From the ruins emerged Mehmed Çelebi, Bayezid's youngest surviving son.
Through patience, diplomacy, and selective warfare, he defeated his brothers one by one. In 1413, Mehmed reunited the fractured lands and became Sultan Mehmed I, the man history would remember as the Restorer. 3. Healing the empire. Unlike his predecessors, Mehmed focused on stability rather than conquest. He rebuilt the central government, re-established tax systems and administration, re-established loyalty among Anatolian beyliks, reorganized the army after years of disorder. The empire began to breathe again. 4. Suppressing internal threats. Mehmed faced dangerous internal revolts, led by Sheikh Bedreddin, pretenders claiming the Ottoman throne. Each rebellion threatened to tear the empire apart, but Mehmed crushed them decisively, restoring authority and law. 5. Balancing Europe and Anatolia. Rather than provoking Europe, Mehmed used diplomacy, signed treaties with Byzantine and Balkan states, avoided unnecessary wars, bought time to strengthen the empire internally. This calm strategy ensured Ottoman survival. 6. A stable succession. When Mehmed I died in 1421, he left behind a united empire, a functioning army, a stable government, a clear line of succession. For the first time since Bayezid's fall, the future looked secure. 7. The legacy of Part 4. Mehmed I did not expand borders dramatically, but he achieved something greater. He saved the Ottoman Empire from extinction. Without him, there would be no Mehmed the Conqueror, no fall of Constantinople, no Ottoman Golden Age. A young sultan faces chaos, 1421. When Mehmed I died, the throne passed to his son, Murad II, still young and inexperienced. Sensing weakness, enemies moved quickly. Byzantine agents supported a false Ottoman prince. Balkan states prepared for rebellion. The empire once again stood on the edge of disorder. Murad II had to prove himself fast. 2. Crushing internal rebellion. Murad first secured Anatolia, defeated the pretender backed by Byzantium, reasserted authority over rebellious beyliks, punished betrayal without mercy. By restoring internal order, Murad prevented a repeat of the interregnum. 3. War in the Balkans. With Anatolia secure, Murad turned west, launched campaigns into Serbia, Bulgaria, and Hungary, captured key fortresses and trade routes, strengthened Ottoman control of the Balkans. Europe responded with fear and preparation. 4. The Crusade of Varna, 1444. A major crusader coalition, supported by the Pope, marched against the Ottomans. Murad had temporarily abdicated, leaving the throne to his teenage son, Mehmed II. But as the Crusaders advanced, Murad was urgently recalled. At the Battle of Varna, Ottoman discipline crushed the Crusader army. The Crusader king was killed in battle. Europe's offensive power was broken. This victory secured Ottoman dominance in the Balkans. 5. Battle of Kosovo, 1448. 4 years later, Europe tried again. At the Second Battle of Kosovo, Murad defeated a massive Hungarian-led army, ended serious Balkan resistance for generations. The Balkans were now firmly Ottoman. 6. The reluctant ruler. Despite his victories, Murad was weary of war. He longed for peace and spiritual life, repeatedly attempting to retire. Yet history would not release him. 8. Preparing the future conqueror. Murad trained his son Mehmed II intensely. Military strategy, governance, languages, and sciences. The dream of capturing Constantinople. Murad knew the city would one day fall, but not by his hand. 9. End of Part 5. The road was prepared. The gates of Constantinople stood ahead.
Mehmed the Conqueror builds an empire. After taking Constantinople, Mehmed II did not stop. He transformed the Ottomans into a centralized imperial state, created a powerful legal system, strengthened imperial bureaucracy, rebuilt Istanbul as a global capital of trade, culture, and learning. Istanbul became the heart of the Muslim world and a bridge between East and West. 2. Crushing rivals in the Balkans. Mehmed expanded rapidly, conquered Serbia 1459 and Bosnia 1463, absorbed remaining Byzantine territories, defeated Balkan resistance permanently. Ottoman rule now dominated southeastern Europe. 3. War with Venice. The Ottomans clashed with Venice, the great naval power of the Mediterranean. Long, brutal wars followed. Ottoman fleets gained strength. Key Aegean islands and ports fell under Ottoman control. The empire now challenged Europe at sea as well as land. 4. End of Mehmed II, 1481. Mehmed died unexpectedly in 1481 while preparing another campaign. He left behind a vast, disciplined empire, a strong economy, a feared military. But succession would once again test Ottoman stability. 5. Bayezid II, peace over conquest. Mehmed's son, Bayezid II, chose diplomacy over constant war. His reign focused on internal stability, trade and culture, religious tolerance. He famously welcomed Jewish refugees expelled from Spain 1492, strengthening Ottoman commerce and scholarship. 6. A growing storm in the east. While the west was calm, danger rose in the east. The Safavid Empire of Persia, a powerful Shia state challenging Ottoman Sunni authority. This conflict would shape the empire's future. 7. Abdication and transition. 1512. Bayezid II was forced to abdicate by his son, Suleiman I, ruthless, brilliant, and terrifying. A new age was about to begin. Mehmed the Conqueror builds an empire. After taking Constantinople, Mehmed II did not stop. He transformed the Ottomans into a centralized imperial state, created a powerful legal system, strengthened imperial bureaucracy, rebuilt Istanbul as a global capital of trade, culture, and learning. Istanbul became the heart of the Muslim world and a bridge between East and West. 2. Crushing rivals in the Balkans. Mehmed expanded rapidly, conquered Serbia 1459 and Bosnia 1463, absorbed remaining Byzantine territories, defeated Balkan resistance permanently. Ottoman rule now dominated southeastern Europe. 3. War with Venice. The Ottomans clashed with Venice, the great naval power of the Mediterranean. Long, brutal wars followed. Ottoman fleets gained strength. Key Aegean islands and ports fell under Ottoman control. The empire now challenged Europe at sea as well as land. 4. End of Mehmed II, 1481. Mehmed died unexpectedly in 1481 while preparing another campaign. He left behind a vast, disciplined empire, a strong economy, a feared military. But succession would once again test Ottoman stability. 5. Bayezid II, peace over conquest.
Mehmed's son, Bayezid II, chose diplomacy over constant war. His reign focused on internal stability, trade and culture, religious tolerance. He famously welcomed Jewish refugees expelled from Spain, 1492, strengthening Ottoman commerce and scholarship. 6. A growing storm in the east. While the west was calm, danger rose in the east. The Safavid Empire of Persia, a powerful Shia state challenging Ottoman Sunni authority. This conflict would shape the empire's future. 7. Abdication and transition. 1512. Bayezid II was forced to abdicate by his son, Selim I, ruthless, brilliant, and terrifying. A new age was about to begin.
Rise of Suleiman, 1520. When Suleiman I ascended the throne, Europe called him the Magnificent, while the Islamic world knew him as Kanuni, the lawgiver. He inherited the most powerful empire on earth and elevated it to its peak. Master of law and order. Suleiman's greatest legacy was not only conquest, but law. He codified Ottoman legal systems, balanced Islamic law with imperial regulations, ensured justice for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. For decades, his laws governed 3 continents. Conquests in Europe. Suleiman launched relentless campaigns. Belgrade, 1521, fell. Rhodes, 1522, was conquered. Hungary collapsed after the Battle of Mohacs in 1526. The road to Vienna lay open. Siege of Vienna, 1529. Suleiman's army reached the gates of Vienna, striking fear across Europe. Though the city held, Europe now understood the Ottomans could strike the heart of the continent. Master of the seas. Under Suleiman, Ottoman naval power exploded. Admiral Barbarossa dominated the Mediterranean. Ottoman fleets defeated Spain and Venice. North Africa fell under Ottoman influence. The Mediterranean became an Ottoman lake. A cultural renaissance. Suleiman's reign was a golden age of architecture, mosques of Mimar Sinan, poetry, art and science, trade and diplomacy. Istanbul rivaled Rome and Baghdad in splendor. Love, power, in tragedy. Behind the glory lay tragedy. Suleiman married Harem Sultan. Palace intrigue reshaped succession. His son Mustafa was executed, haunting Suleiman forever. Death of a Titan, 1566. Suleiman died during a military campaign at age 71. His death marked the end of Ottoman expansion at its peak. After Suleiman the Magnificent, 1566, the Ottoman Empire entered a period of gradual decline. While still vast and powerful, the empire faced succession crises within the royal family, military stagnation as European armies modernized, administrative corruption in distant provinces. The Golden Age was over, but the empire still held enormous territory. Several attempts at reform. Selim II and Murad III struggled with court intrigue. Ahmed I and Osman II attempted military and tax reforms. Tanzimat reforms, 19th century, modernized law, education, and infrastructure. Despite these efforts, reforms often faced resistance from entrenched elites. Rising European power. By the 17th century, Austria, Russia, and Britain became rivals. The Mediterranean and trade routes shifted to Atlantic powers. Ottoman military technology lagged behind Europe.
the empire's borders slowly shrank, especially in Europe and North Africa. Nationalism and revolts. In the 19th century, rising nationalism caused internal collapse. Greece, Serbia, and Bulgaria fought for independence. Arab provinces increasingly resisted Ottoman rule. Minority populations sought autonomy. The empire became known as the sick man of Europe. World War I and the final collapse. The Ottoman Empire entered World War I, 1914 through 1918, on the side of the Central Powers. Defeated by Allied forces, lost much of its territory in the Middle East and Balkans. Constantinople remained, but the empire was effectively finished. Birth of modern Turkey. After the war, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk led the Turkish War of Independence 1919 through 1923, abolished the Sultanate in 1922, declared the Republic of Turkey 1923. Istanbul became the capital of a new secular nation. The Ottoman Empire, one of history's longest-lasting empires, vanished, leaving a profound legacy on Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Legacy of the Ottoman Empire. Even in decline, the Ottomans left a lasting impact. Architecture, mosques, bridges, palaces, law and administration, foundations of modern governments, culture and trade, cuisine, art and literature, religion, guardianship of Islam's holy sites. From a small Anatolian principality to a world-spanning empire, the Ottoman story lasted over 600 years.